Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be working with the rose brush and the Moda For All Shading brush. Let's start by naming this layer 1. I'm choosing this red as our first color. Open the brush library and select the Rose 7C brush. I'll begin by adding the rose pattern to the bodice. Let's rename this layer 1 Rose 7C and copy the name. Next, I'll make a new layer right above the skirt base and paste the name onto it. I'll apply the rose pattern here as well. Now it's time for shading, so let's add another layer and call this one 2. Pick our shadow color and grab the Moda For All Shading brush. I'll start building up the shading following the lines. Make sure to shade the wrong side of the dress too. Since this is the inside of the fabric, I'll erase the rose pattern from these areas. Let's select the pattern layer, switch to the eraser, and remove the motif. Let's also clear out the roses here. Then I'll switch back to the shading layer with the Moda For All Shading brush and layer in those shadows again. I'll continue shading along the line walk. Then over the creases. Along the hem. And once more on the wrong side of the fabric. For this section on the inside, I'll select the rose layer again and erase the pattern. After that, I'll add shading again. Then blend out the shadow color. Next, I'll make the line drawing layer visible and place it below the shading layer. As usual, I'll bump the brightness all the way up to fade out the lines. We've done this in previous videos, so I'll keep it brief. Now the lines are hidden. So let's repeat these steps on the bodice as well. Create a shading layer and name it 2. I'll add shadows along the lines. Finally, blend them out on the remaining areas. Let's move the line drawing layer below the shading layer. And again, turn up the brightness to hide the lines. Then I'll add in some extra shading on the bodice and skirt. Now let's move on to the highlights. I'll make a new layer and name it 3. I'll add highlights to the chest. Add some to the waist as well. I'll keep going with highlights on the skirt, starting at the waistband. Add more around the belly area, along the first crease, then on the cone shape, along the second crease, and on this wrap section too. I'll also add a thin highlight to this wrong side section because it faces forward and will catch some light. Highlight the cone areas, this one here, and another over here. I'll add a touch on this spot too. I'm gonna add more shadow color here. So go back to the shadow layer and select the color again. There's too much shadow on this second cone, so I'll erase some to balance it out. There should also be a bit of drop shadow here coming from the first cone, so let's add in more shadow color as needed. Then return to our highlight layer, pick color through again, and add final touches. Let's give the neckline a bit more highlight and a little along the wrap section for extra dimension. Now let's move to the back of the dress. create a new layer, call it 2, and pick our shadow color. I'll apply the color with a bit of pressure for a deeper shade. I'll add just a very thin layer of highlights too. Then finish by deepening the shadows on the wrong side of the dress. There we have our finished dress. You'll find the brushes and the color palette links in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.